Hey guys, welcome back to the Mind of Brandon. Today we're going to be doing another feminism related video. Last week I talked about the Feminist Label, and at the end of that video I asked the question, what rights do men have that women don't? Which of course is the topic of today's video. That said, I actually recently asked this question of a feminist that I was having a comment box conversation with on some video uploaded by someone else, and she has actually since retracted her comments. By that I mean she deleted them. But I thought that some of the things she said would be good to address in a video, because I think it helps put in perspective for feminists why it is, despite the fact that they're saying, oh, well, feminism is just about gender equality, there's all these people that are all for equality that are against feminism, okay? Now, I don't actually think of myself as against feminism. It's a word to me, right? It means different things to different people. I don't think of myself as feminist. I also don't think of myself as anti-feminist. I think that feminists sometimes make good points. Sometimes they're making some pretty shitty points. Same can be said for anti-feminists. Sometimes they make good points, sometimes they make shitty points, right? So yeah, I don't like to commit myself to one side or the other. I like to maintain objectivity. That said, when I asked this feminist, what rights do men have that women don't, her response was, how about men trying to deny women birth control and abortion? Or how about the pay gap? Or how more often than not, a woman will be viewed as a sexual object rather than a human. Now, I've kind of gotten the impression that most feminists aren't going to notice a problem with the response that she just gave. But for everyone else is going to notice that she didn't really give examples of actual rights that men have over women. When we look at the first point that she made, about men trying to deny women birth control and abortions, look, birth control and abortions are perfectly legal. That is a right that women in this country have. You're allowed to do that. This is not an example of a right that men have over women. Yes, there are some regressive activists out there that want to police people's bodies, and some of them are men. Most of them are women. That's statistically verifiable. You can even go on Google and look up pro-life rally and see photos of female dominated activist groups holding up signs that are anti-abortion and that sort of thing. So you got to keep in mind that if we were to ban birth control and abortions, that would affect more than just women, right? That would affect guys too, right? Most men do not want to ban birth control and abortions. We're perfectly content keeping those around, right? Being allowed to do that. So the problem with these activists, it's not something to do with, men having more rights than women or men oppressing women. No, the problem is that they have archaic values and they spend too much time focusing on dictionary definitions. That's the main weight of their pro-life arguments. Just, looking up definitions of murder. What does it mean to be human? That sort of thing, right? Or in other words, they're guilty of the same thing that feminists are guilty of when they say that feminism is just about gender equality. Now, regarding the pay gap, I think the typical anti-feminist would probably tell you something along the lines of, oh, this argument's been debunked so many times. The wage gap is a myth. There is no wage gap, right? Well, I'm not going to tell you that. I will say it's my understanding that the bulk of this wage gap can be accounted for based on people's personal choices. There's certain jobs that men are statistically going to be more interested in than women will be. So there's certain jobs that men are more likely to apply to than women are. That said, statistically, women are going to put in more time off requests, whether we're talking about sick leave, vacation, maternity leave. And so, if they're being paid by the hour, it of course makes sense that, if they're working less, they're going to make less money, right? So that certainly accounts for a good chunk of this pay gap. That said, there is apparently such a thing as what I call statistical sexism. Basically, companies factor in the fact that women are more likely to, take advantage of company benefits like paid sick leave, paid vacation, paid maternity leave, that sort of thing. And so they just pay them less from the get-go, right? Yeah, that's why I call it statistical sexism, that they're paying them less because they're women, right? Just, they're backing it up with statistics, and some people defend that. It's like, well, the statistics say that women are more likely to do this. But, again, that's sexism if the fact that they're a woman just automatically means that they're going to be paid less, right? And here's the thing. That's illegal. When companies are caught doing that, they tend to get in trouble for that. So again, this is not actually an example of rights that men have over women, okay? Companies are not allowed to commit this statistical sexism. It's not okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's a perfect system and that no one ever gets away with doing anything illegal, right? That's certainly not true. People do sometimes get away with breaking laws. I'm really just trying to help the feminist community understand why it is that feminism has such a bad rep right now, okay? Despite all the times that feminists come onto YouTube saying, hey, it's really just about equality. Feminism just means you advocate gender equality, right? Despite all that, okay, if you're saying things that seem factually inaccurate, if you're challenged to provide examples of rights that men have over women and you've got none to give, okay, it doesn't look good. Now, on our final point about how more often than not, men will see women as sexual objects rather than as humans, there is so much that is wrong with that. First off, more often than not, women are not sexy enough to be viewed as sexual objects, right? And this is coming from a heterosexual male. I'm not into guys. I'm into women. But not all women. Not even most of them. Every now and then, there's a woman that is attractive enough for me to be interested in her, right? To be interested in walking up to her, hey, how are you? What's your name? Try to get a phone number, maybe get a date, maybe get laid, right? Every now and then there's a woman like that. It's not common. Most women are just really not that attractive, okay? Second, this whole concept of sexual objectification is just bullshit. Well, okay, it depends on how you're using it. Some feminists just kind of use it to refer to, when the sexiness of a woman is being used to sell a product, like in an advertisement or something like that. I'm not going to give them crap for talking about sexual objectification in that context. But when they use that for when a guy compliments a woman or he's hitting on a woman, trying to get her phone number, trying to get laid, whatever, in those contexts, it's so stupid. If a guy tells a woman, oh, you're beautiful, or you have an unbelievable body, you've got really great legs, or something like that, if he just pays her a compliment, and she says, I'm being sexually objectified, right? That is her own insecurity, okay? That's putting a negative spin on something that's supposed to be positive. A compliment's supposed to lift you up, not bring you down, okay? And that's actually a sign of depression when someone puts a negative spin on something positive. And I actually have not been too surprised at how many feminists I've found here on YouTube who confess to the internet, oh, I've been diagnosed with depression, right? I've been on antidepressants, and I have scars from when I used to cut myself, So, yeah, that does seem to be a common problem in the feminist movement. People who just have bad attitudes. And that being said, maybe I should just speak for myself here, but I think generally speaking, men do not go around trying to have sex with objects. They're interested in having sex with women, right? And yes, we definitely make the distinction between human females and objects. If I go to the store to go buy some things, right, some objects, I'm not going to have any approach anxiety. I might have some approach anxiety when I see a hottie at the other end of the produce section. I start thinking, oh, what do I say to her, right? Because I'm thinking, what's she going to think? How's she going to respond? what do I do about all these other people all over the place? Because people all over the place can like get in the way. You gotta approach a woman just right. Gotta come at her from the right angle. Don't sneak up and startle her, right? There's all these factors that you gotta take into consideration. You don't gotta take them into consideration when you're just buying a fucking stapler. So there's definitely a pretty obvious difference between an object and an actual human being. Okay, it's just that as a heterosexual male, I'm going to be attracted to women. Well, not, again, like I said, not all women. Every now and then there's a woman that is attractive. The fact that she's attractive doesn't mean I'm objectifying her. Think about it. Doesn't that just sound stupid? The fact that a heterosexual male is attracted to a woman, that means he's objectifying her? Come on. If there's anyone that I objectify, anyone that I treat like objects, it's the various men and women that I'm not attracted to, the ones that I have no interest in approaching, right? They're just kind of there. It's like they're just kind of inanimate objects. They're just part of the scene. They don't fucking matter, right? Seriously, like that's what it's like. Most people just, they're just random strangers. I don't give a fuck about them. It's not until I see the hottie that, you really can't justify this idea that I'm objectifying a beautiful woman, that, when I want to have sex with a beautiful woman, that does not equate to treating her like an object. No, it's the other people I'm treating like fucking objects. Not sex objects, but objects nonetheless, right? It's like they really just don't fucking matter. So if what she said was more often than not, people will treat other people like objects, well, that would be true. That is more often than not what happens. People treat other people like objects. It doesn't matter whether we're men or women or whatever. People in general treat other people in general like they're just kind of inanimate objects. They're just kind of part of the scenery, but not necessarily sex objects. So I think it's obvious to everyone watching this video that once again, we do not have an example of a right that men have over women. So again, I ask, what rights do men have that women don't? And you may leave your answers down in the comment section. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Next Friday, I am going to be talking about an actual right that men have that women don't. So I hope to see you all there. Thank you for watching. Peace and have a good one.